And we're live.
All right. Hey, y'all. Good morning. It is Monday morning, the 26th of June, 2023. You know, I love this time of the day because I'm forced to remember what day it is. And otherwise, I would just go through the day not even thinking about it and not having any idea of what day it is because that's just how I roll. Kirsten may be a little glitchy today, and we'll make sure she gets her vitamins for tomorrow. And Ricky is her normal animated cat self, and we welcome you to our live stream for today from the world headquarters of the Bearheart Group here in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Bearheart, and we all love you. So I want to talk a little bit about Starlink today. Over the weekend, my main internet connection went out. It actually went out on Friday. And I switched to my backup. My main internet connection is with Cox Cable. And they're not terribly reliable, but when it works, it's super fast. And I like that. And as a backup, I have Starlink, which I got earlier in the year. I've been on the waiting list forever, and now they're serving my area. And they advertise. I don't know. They don't guarantee that you get a speed, but it hovers around 100 megabits to 150 megabits. And this weekend, it was actually faster than that. I was averaging about 170, which is really great. As they get more satellites in their constellation, the speeds will go up. And that's because of the way that they share bandwidth between the satellites. And you may actually, one node may be being served by more than one satellite. So the more satellites there, the more data. It's all very complicated, and muggles aren't going to get this. But I was really excited. It was more reliable, and I didn't even notice. For my daily usage, I mean, I would notice if I was trying to upload a bunch of videos or something, which I don't do so much anymore. Ricky takes care of that for me now, and Kirsten, both of them do, and so that was really cool, and it worked well. I mean, I was able to stream TV shows, which I am known to do. I like to watch Jeopardy every afternoon. I watch my baseball games in the evenings, and occasionally I'll watch a movie, and or some Star Trek. I mean, Thursday is Star Trek Day for the next few weeks as Strange New Worlds is going on, and I will watch each episode at least twice. And the Will Wheaton commentary show afterwards, where he interviews the actors and everything. I am an unabashed geek in that way. So that all worked out really, really well, and I'm kind of stoked about the future of it. Well, then this morning I read this article online where somebody did some tests from rural Germany, and apparently the rural areas have better service because they have access to all the same satellites, but they're not as crowded in the rural areas. Again, because of the way that it works, from the perspective of the dish, what satellites are available in your constellation and how busy are those satellites. If you're way out in the boonies, you got access to all the satellites as they pass over you, but they're not busy at the moment, and so you get better bandwidth. And at this location in rural Germany, they were getting 600 megabits. And Starlink has advertised from the start that their goal is a gigabit. Their goal is 1,000 megabits. And I'm starting to think they may hit it at some point. I don't know how crowded we can let the skies become with these low Earth orbit satellites. At some point, there's going to be a limit or we're just going to have, trouble with weather balloons and all kinds of, yeah. And well, I think they're pretty capable of steering around each other but yeah, that's a good visual, Kirsten. At some point, in the not too distant future, 10, 20 years from now, we'll be looking up at the sky and, the occasional exploding satellite will just be something that we accept because, that's the price we pay for good broadband. Um, but, oh, and hey, extra points to anybody who gets the meaning of my shirt today. So we'll look for that in the comments.
I know.
Yeah, well, you guys know because you were there when I had the shirt made.
It's actually part of my job description. So
That was super cool. Love you. Um, Kirsten is out in the boonies in East Texas, where she and her family just got a new home, and it's like closer to Shreveport than it is to Dallas. Let's just put it that way. Eventually, when I fly out to visit, I'll be flying into Shreveport, um, and her area, it's like one little hole in the Starlink coverage that they say that by the end of the year have coverage there, and in the meantime she's going to get whatever internet she can. Right now um, she's tethered to her phone for the cell service, which, as you can tell, is not what we would call broadband. But I told her to keep making funny faces so that when it freezes, that we'll get it freezed on one, something. But Kirsten doesn't make faces like that. All of her faces are adorable, like this one. There we go. So yeah, so that's all pretty exciting. And at some point, Kirsten will be on Starlink full time. And I can tell you from our earlier conversation today, she is excited about that. And it's a fabulous system. I mean, we all know how I feel about Elon Musk, but this Starlink stuff is actually pretty groovy, and I'm very happy with the as a backup, it's fabulous. If it were my primary connection, I would not be complaining. Although, I will gravitate towards the faster Cox connection when it's working. And that's the thing. And I feel this way about a lot of services. The more we can distribute the services, the less single point of failure, right? And so my Cox cable connection is, connected from somewhere that is serving, I don't know how many customers, but it's more than a handful, I'm certain. And my Starlink is serving precisely one customer. And as long as I don't, break the cable or do something nasty to it, it's going to keep working. I mean, at some point it could, the modem could fail, or some of the electronics in the dish could fail or something, and I'll have to get it repaired. But that's all within my control. And so things like our electric grid, which is the interconnection of thousands and thousands of customers for each power station, many thousands, tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands. And it's got, points of failure that affect large numbers of customers. I would like to see a world where everybody has either, their own solar on the roof, and they're limited to that much electricity, which I think would be fine. Or it's at one point there was talk about having every house have its own little hydrogen fuel cell, which would also work great. Or even at some point in the future, remember from Back to the Future when Doc Brown came back from the future with a little Mr. Hydrogen, uh,
Yes.
hydrogen reactor in the back of his car.
Yep. Iconic.
One of those would power a home and all of your electric cars and everything, just really really nicely. And people think, oh, but how dangerous, nuclear. The other problem with these giant power distribution and power generation plants, no matter what the technology, whether it's nuclear or hydro or solar or whatever, you've got a concentration of a massive amount of power in one location. And that's where the danger lies. And you'll see this all over the world with all different kinds of energy, whole towns getting destroyed by the break of a dam. Um, uh, you know, um, Oil spills, all kinds of disasters, not just Fukushima, but lots and lots of stuff. And we focus on Fukushima because we don't understand. And it's like, oh my God, the radiation and all this stuff. And yeah, that's bad. But so is a dam breaking in a hydroelectric plant that kills hundreds of thousands of people in China, which has happened. So, I'm all for very granularly distributed power sources, just like I am for granularly distributed internet connection. And I hope that's the future. I think it should be. In any event, there we are. That's my rant for today. What do you guys got? Ricky, you got anything?
No, I don't have anything. I like talking about Starlink. I think it's really cool. Sometimes I see the satellites go overhead and I'm like, I wonder if that's a Starlink satellite.
Yeah, they're pretty tiny. I think most of the time when you see a satellite speeding across the sky, more often than not, that's probably the space station.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's just I see multiple satellites, but it could be, weather related,
They're
NORAD type stuff.
while they're launching and while they're so after they launch, they go into a parking orbit and they wait there until their orbit lines up with where they're supposed to be positioned in the constellation. And then they will fire their thrusters and move up into the final orbit and get in line with the other satellites. And sometimes when that happens, you'll be able to see from the Earth a string of satellites with their little thrusters burning. And there's a website where you can track this, and you can find out when it's happening overhead, and you can like go out and look.
Ah, okay. I tried to find a tracking app for it, but I couldn't find one. So you're gonna have to share that with us.
Yeah. I have a couple of tracking their websites, that I'll bring up on my computer and look at them when I'm switching over to Starlink. But yeah, the whole thing. I mean, I'm of mixed mind about it for a couple of reasons, but overall, the technology I find fascinating and impressive. The fact that I mean, there's so many great advanced technologies going on to make this work. You got the phased array antenna, which is the dish that goes on your roof or on your yard or wherever it is you're going to put it, and this dish is made up of many tiny dishes that are formed by electromagnetic fields, and and that allows them to be controlled. So what you've got is hundreds, I believe. I don't think it's thousands. I think it's hundreds of little dishes that are all electromagnetic, and they track the satellites in real time, right? And that is just the I love Kirsten mimicking me. And that's just that part of the technology. Then you've got the satellites themselves, which are designed to they talk to each other, they keep certain distance from each other, they follow paths together. They're like a flock of seagulls, really, and or a flock of birds in that way. But they're all, and they're communicating with each other, I believe, over lasers. And so they shine lasers at each other and communicate over the laser beams. And then you've got the technology that controls all of this from the central, and it controls, which satellites are, and when the station, the ground station connects to the satellites, it can follow 2 or 3, or I don't know how many. It could follow several satellites at once, and what's the word, interlace. It gets, it'll get one packet from one packet from another. It'll send one packet to one. It'll send one packet to another, and all of this gets assembled later on in the chain, and that's what allows you to aggregate your signal. That's the word I was looking for, to aggregate from several satellites to get greater bandwidth for the one base station. That is just all brilliant stuff, and it's just a lot of moving parts, and as a systems engineer, I really dig that. I love systems that are have complexity to them, yet each of the individual parts you can understand, or at least I can, and it all works together and works beautifully. I think that's all brilliant. One thing worth noting, and I love noting this in so many different contexts, the inventor of spread spectrum technology, which is the ability to aggregate multiple signals across different bands of communication. The inventor of that was Hedy Lamarr, who was a beautiful film actress and a sex symbol on the pinup model for World War II era, and also one of the smartest people that ever lived. And she, of course, the man that she worked with on this, she had to have a man work with her in order to get the patent, because women, they would just ignore her otherwise. But this was her work. And we use this in cell phones, we use this in Wi-Fi, and of course it's also part of this Starlink stuff. And all of this is possible because of an invention that was invented by Hedy Lamarr. And if you've ever seen the film Blazing Saddles, there's a character in the film who's like the chief of staff to the governor. The governor is played by Mel Brooks, but the chief of staff is played by, I forget the actor's name. I'll think of it in a minute. But people keep calling him, his name is Hedley Lamarr, and people keep calling him Hedy Lamarr. He says it's Hedley. And it's such a great joke, because she was really famous. She was a famous movie star, a famous pinup. And yet underneath all of that, and that's the part I love, she was just this brilliant mathematician and brilliant inventor. And I think that's super cool. Anyway, that's what I got for today. I hope you all are having a fabulous day. Please let us know if you can decipher my shirt. I'll give the answer tomorrow. And this is just one of my very geeky jokes. It's a
I love it.
It's a combination music physics joke, because those two things have to go together, right? Anyway, that's what we got for today. Love you all.
Some comments before we go.
Oh, sure. Let's do that.
Okay, so we have hello from Nidhal Mana on LinkedIn.
Hello, Midhal.
Nidhal.
Yeah, well, I don't see it spelled in front of me, so
Gotcha. Okay. And then we have hi guys from Gary Bennett, who says he's been busy for the last few weeks, but it's good to see you again, Gary.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Absolutely. Welcome back.
And that's what we have.
All right. So y'all have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. I have no idea what's going on tomorrow, but I know that we'll have a longer form evening live stream tomorrow. And you know what? I think I want to talk about adolescent gamers. That's a thing with us. We had an experience on what was it, on Friday or Thursday or Friday last week, and I think that's something worth talking about. And, you know, what in the world are we doing to our children that makes them turn out this way? That's that'll be tomorrow evening. In the meantime, you guys have a great day. We love you, and we'll see you then. Bye.